Hi everybody, my name's Steve Trotter and I'm Careers Hub Operations Lead here in Hertfordshire, and I'm welcome to our video around Gatsby Benchmarks hints and tips. So we are the Hertfordshire Careers Hub, and our priorities this academic year are to help every young person in Hertfordshire find their next best step, and for you as either a college or a school to have a modern, high quality 21st century careers education to support everyone everywhere in Hertfordshire. We've got some main aims this year to try and get as many schools and colleges over to Compass Plus, and also to start using the Future Skills questionnaire. And we will go into that in a little bit more detail in today's session. We're also looking here to secure an improving system for review and support, which is the Gatsby Benchmarks. And we're also trying to help careers leaders by giving you training and education and CPD. And today's workshop is a prime example of that. So straight on to the Gatsby Benchmarks. So Gatsby Benchmarks were developed in 2014 by Professor Sir John Holman, a former Watford head, and he teamed up with the Gatsby Charitable Foundation and did some research around the world to see what the best bits of careers were. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a short video to give you a bit more information on that.
Hi, I'm Steve.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and welcome to video 2 about the Gatsby Benchmarks.
In 2014, Lord Sainsbury's Gatsby Charitable Foundation published a report by Professor Sir John Holman, Advisor in Education at the Gatsby Foundation. This was titled Good Career Guidance.
The report identified 8 benchmarks that are the core dimensions of good careers and enterprise provision in schools.
Gatsby Benchmark 1, a stable careers programme. Gatsby Benchmark 2, learning from career and labour market information.
3. Addressing the needs of each pupil. 4. Linking curriculum learning to careers. 5. Encounters with employers and employees. 6. Experiences of workplaces.
Gatsby Benchmark 7, encounters with further and higher education. And Gatsby Benchmark 8, personal guidance. Good career guidance and further resources can be downloaded from the Gatsby website. Please click below.
Here in the UK, the Careers and Enterprise Company are the main driver for this work. They aim to inspire and prepare young people for the fast-changing world of work. They have a national network that connects schools, colleges, employers, and careers programme providers to create strategic, high-impact careers opportunities for young people.
To help schools meet the Gatsby benchmarks, the Careers and Enterprise Company have developed the Compass online evaluation tool to evaluate their school or college's careers activities in around 30 minutes. This is mapped to the Gatsby benchmarks and identifies strengths and areas for improvement.
Once complete, the schools or colleges can then use the online tracker to build, manage and develop their plan to help improve their provision and benchmark scores.
Good luck with meeting the Gatsby benchmarks, and please click below to find other videos and further information to help you. Thank you.
I'm sure he looks a little bit familiar from somewhere. Yeah, that was me from a few years ago, pre-pandemic and pre-Brexit, looking a little bit younger there. So some hints and tips now around the Gatsby benchmarks. So Gatsby Benchmark 1 is about a stable careers programme, and it's about having something on your programme from year 7 upwards. Depending on what kind of education provider you are, whether that's up to year 11 or year 13, or if you're a middle school up to the end of year 8. Gatsby Benchmark 2 is about learning from labour market information. Gatsby Benchmark 3, addressing the need for each pupil. 4, linking curriculum learning to careers. 5 and 6 is where your enterprise advisors can really help around encounters with employers and employees and experiences of the workplace. 7 is around encounters for further and higher education, and Gatsby Benchmark 8 is about personal guidance. So we're going to move on to Gatsby Benchmark 1 now and give you some hints and tips and easy wins. And throughout this video, lots of the resources are on the HOP website under the Gatsby Benchmark section if you would like to use them. So what does good look like? Every school and college should have an embedded program of career education and guidance that is known and understood by the parents, teachers, governors, and other agencies that work with the school or college. They should have an embedded program that is known and understood by all of these different stakeholders. The best way to do this is to put it on the website and to have some kind of focus so that everybody knows that it's there. They should have a structured program that's got the backing of their senior leadership team and the careers leader who takes the responsibility for it. And the careers program should be really well laid out. And there's even visual examples that we've got later in this video that are available to put on your website. And we've also got a template as well. The program should be regularly evaluated and get feedback from students, parents, school staff, and employers around every 3 years, but ideally you want to do that as an ongoing thing every academic year. And the other key thing, which will be changing from January 2023, is to have a Baker Clause statement or access statement. So currently that's to enable apprenticeship providers, training providers, and further education colleges to be able to come in and give talks to your students. And this will tighten up further from January 23, where there's expectation to have 6 interactions. And I'll cover that a little bit later in this video. So Benchmark 1 provides that foundation for your careers program, and it enables everyone to know what they're going to be doing. As I've already mentioned, it should have from year 7 upwards and be featured on your website, approved by the governors and the SLT. And maybe have that short introduction to why and the what's and hows of your careers program, as along with your policy as well, and that Baker Clause statement. And then very simply, you can highlight that this program is for students, parents, and teachers and employers, which then makes it implicitly clear to people like Ofsted checking your website. So Gatsby Benchmark 1 is the stable part of the whole program. So it's a really good place to start if you're a new careers leader. And then once that one drops into place, you can move on to some of the other benchmarks. When you're thinking about your program, it's good to have some key elements to it. So having those different activities happening in the different terms and in different year groups, having some careers linked to the curriculum, either in PSHE time, actual lesson time, or theme weeks like National Apprenticeship, National Careers Week. Use of things like the HOP, Hertfordshire Opportunities Portal website to help with labour market information, and having various different employer engagements. So things like talks, mock interviews, careers fairs, work experience, etc. And then those encounters with the different providers. So sixth form, college, apprenticeship, university, etc. And then space and time for one-to-one guidance with a level 6 qualified careers practitioner. You want your program to be progressive. You want to be able to track each individual pupil, so you can do that through Compass Plus, which is free, available from us, or through Unifrog, and be informed by stakeholder voice. So it's really good to start to get and listen to students' opinions on the careers program, teachers, parents, and employers as well. For anybody relatively new or considering moving over to Compass Plus, or would like to know how to use Compass Plus more, depending on when you're watching this video, in November 2022, on the 29th of November at Computer Centre, we're going to be running some future skills questionnaire training and also some Compass Plus training. And then later in the academic year, we will also do a virtual version of this. And this will be the opportunity to find out more about the future skills questionnaire, that really does give that pupil voice to your programme. It captures what are the most favourite sectors that your students are interested in, how career ready your students feel, which then helps inform who should be going to see the careers guidance practitioner early in the academic year. And then it also refers to skills developed as well. So you can get a really good insight as to what your students feel about the programme and how career ready they are. So I do really welcome people to sign up to Compass Plus and to use the Future Skills questionnaire. Another element to Gatsby Benchmark and your careers program for Gatsby Benchmark 1 is the CDI, or Career Development Institute framework. And that's on the right hand side of this screen. And if you click on this poster here, it will take you through to the CDI framework website. And this is about 6 holistic pillars, really good for sixth forms, but also any age group within the school, to get people thinking about their career journeys. So growing throughout life, being aware of their skills and strengths and areas for development, exploring possibilities, and learning from setbacks and building resilience, creating opportunities, so making the most of a careers fair, going to talk to someone that's probably head of HR or head of recruitment for an organisation at a careers fair, making the most of it, work-life balance, and seeing the bigger picture. So these are some great pillars to pull into your careers programme, with free resources available on the CDI website, and also Services for Young People here in Hertfordshire will do a free CDI audit for your school or college. When it comes to that programme, again, having something on each year group, maybe selecting when that is in the term, autumn, spring or summer, linking what Gatsby Benchmarks it's related to, and either myself or your enterprise coordinator can help with that. And then as you get further down the journey, you could also link it into the CDI framework pillars as well. So the examples on here, you've got things like careers guidance appointments, work experience, talks on degree apprenticeships, GCSE options evenings, and careers in the curriculum for National Careers Week, etc. So lots of different things on here. You want to make sure this is on your website and it's updated each academic year. Can be a working document, so it could change throughout the year, and has maybe quite a lot of elements of face-to-face with some virtual as well, as long as there's interaction. And then, like I said, next logical step is to move towards the CDI framework and include that possibly as well. Quite a few of us are visual, and sometimes it's easier for our audience to understand it. So there's a few different visual options where you can do it as a bit of a road or a landscape or a snake through different year groups, what activities are running. We've also currently got a website and overview program templates available on HOP. So please go to the Gatsby Benchmark section 1 and download that if you're interested. And we've currently got on there a Baker Clause statement, which we will update from January 2023 to reflect the new Baker Clause. So when it comes to evaluation, we've talked a little bit about that student voice using the Future Skills questionnaire. You can also get surveys after careers guidance appointments, or other surveys after other activities like careers fairs, mock interviews, etc. Survey parents at parents' evenings, and teachers maybe at a staff inset day to introduce the careers programme, maybe do a bit of a Gatsby Benchmark careers in the curriculum audit as part of an inset, and employers maybe post work experience or post an event, get their background. And then if you're the careers leader in your school watching this, it's worth thinking about having a bit of an annual careers review, maybe as you move into July. Each year, have a look at your website. Is it up to date? Is your policy in date? Does it need updating with the new provider access legislation because of the PAL coming in January 23? Have you got some evaluation in your programme? Have you been feeding back to the senior leadership team? Do you know what your compass score is? Have you been filling that in each term? Have you got a bit of a plan for the areas that you're trying to work to improve? And look at your destinations data each academic year. How many students are going into apprenticeships? Is it between 3 and 10%, or is it even lower? Which can give you extra support and ideas of what to do around workshops. And look at your key groups as well. So things like pupil premium students, English as an additional language, and other important groups. See what you're doing for them, and is it a bit above and beyond what everybody else is getting. Gatsby Benchmark 2, learning from the labour market information. Well, we're really fortunate here in Hertfordshire to have HOP, which really can help meet a lot of this. So by the age of 14, every pupil should have access and use information about career pathways and labour market information to help with their own decision making with things like such as choosing GCSE options and life beyond GCSEs. Parents should be encouraged to access and use this information too. So we've got various different schools and colleges in the county that do this in different ways, but we know that there's a careers information and inspiration Twitter for Stanborough School as an example, but lots of schools are doing really good practice around this with portals and all kinds of different things. But essentially making sure your school website has got a link to HOP on it, making sure that you're using our brand new labour market posters and our updated video that's about to come out. Use HOP lesson plans around labour market information, maybe around National Apprenticeship Week or National Careers Week. Make sure that labour market's being used in your careers guidance appointments. And Gareth, our manager, does virtual employer encounters that are on HOP as well every week with different sectors. We've got over 60 of those on there now around local labour market information here in Hertfordshire. And every January, we will be running a careers conference for careers leaders called Next Generation. And that's going to be taking place the first time on January the 26th, 2023. So please do register and come along to that and get loads of labour market information. Here's a bit of a snapshot of our labour market posters that have just been updated, which are available on HOP on this part of the website here. And we've currently got a labour market video, which will be further updated as well. So these are the kind of things you can show in assemblies, PSHE lessons, part of National Apprenticeship Week, National Careers Week, for example. Here's a little bit more information about our conference. And if you're watching this before January 2023, our invite to this is now live, so please do book. If you're watching this later than that, then please do keep an eye out for the next invite for the following academic year. We've also got some Generation Careers events happening directly with young people. So depending on which part of the county you're in, you may have been involved in Generation Decorum in September, Generation Hertsmere coming up in November, Generation Well in Hatfield in February, and Generation Broxbourne in March. And there'll be other generation events coming to other parts of the county as well. This is where there's lots of labour market information, usually around 40 different Hertfordshire-based employers and growth sectors. And it's mainly for year 11s during the day. And then in the twilight session in the early evening is when other year groups and sixth formers and college students are able to come along. So please get involved in one of these events if your school or college is based in one of these areas. Moving on to Gatsby Benchmark 3, addressing the needs of each pupil. Pupils all have different needs when it comes to their careers. Everybody has a different next step, so it has to be tailored to them individually. So it's really interesting and really important to make sure that all students are aware of all the different options. So aware of college, sixth form, apprenticeships, university for all students, not just a select few. It's also interesting to try and get some really varied and captivating challenge within and raise aspirations within your programme talks and various different activities, and really challenge gender stereotypical thinking as well. So bringing in young women or women working in STEM is a great opportunity to raise aspirations and also challenge gender stereotypical thinking as well. And we have a number of schools that do things like International Women's Day events as well, which are fantastic to see and be part of. Another thing is about keeping systematic records. So if you've got Compass Plus, you've got the ability to be able to track what your students' intended destinations are, and then you can capture what their actual destinations are, link in with services for young people as well here in Hertfordshire to help with that process. And if you're a Unifrog user, you can again set up mechanisms through Unifrog, such as questionnaires and spreadsheets and things to capture where your students are and what they're doing. You've also got to give the students the ability to be able to access their own records. So for example, within Unifrog, if a student's going to a university interview or an apprenticeship interview, they could have a look in their virtual locker at all the different activities they've been involved in, their CV, etc., etc. And it's important to connect, when it comes to your destinations data, it's important to collect that for 3 academic years from the age of end of year 11. So reaching out to colleges, services for young people, submitting your own sixth form list all helps with that process. When it comes to addressing the needs of each pupil, it's great to get alumni involved. Really utilise former students, particularly those that have maybe challenged gender stereotypes. Students really find it interesting and captivating to find out something from someone that's been where they were sat just a few years before them. So bring students back that are on degree apprenticeships, for example, or even studying T-levels. make sure you're tracking your events in Compass Plus or Unifrog or on your own Excel spreadsheets when it comes to attendance to events and different activities that students are taking part in. Linking with your local colleges, West Herts, North Herts, Oaklands and Hertford Regional College. When it comes to university encounters, make sure that they're being tracked when students go to their visits, and also surveying students around their virtual open day. Some of the virtual tours now are so informative, where they'll take you around every single part of the campus, they'll show you the rooms, they'll show you lectures, they'll interview lecturers, interview students, and they'll show you absolutely everything. So try and capture that through your Unifrog or Compass Plus. Taster days as well as things like college are very worthwhile tracking when your students go to taster days, and also when you've got talks of students coming back and college members coming into the school or college to give an assembly, is make sure that you capture that. And along the way, link in with your local authority when it comes to your destinations information. Gatsby Benchmark 4, linking curriculum learning to careers. So lots of different ways you can do this, but it's important by the age of 14 that every pupil should have had the opportunity to learn about different STEM subjects and how they gain entry into those. And also throughout their programme of study, that every student should have the opportunity to engage and have an opportunity experience around careers in the curriculum in different subject areas. So a good starting point is to do an audit with it, maybe within an inset or a staff day, to think about how people are doing this in each subject. Maybe you can then get an idea of who are some of the stronger areas and areas that aren't doing so much, so you can bear that in mind when it comes to supporting them. Building things like having a careers person in each subject area, a careers ambassador. So that person that could be the person that runs with maybe half-termly, they bring something into their team meeting around careers that they can bring into the curriculum. They could also help you reach out to employers to get them involved, etc., etc. Create a careers journey map. So what it is you'll be doing in each subject and what year groups that would be. Look to your EA to get involved with careers in the curriculum. We've had some fantastic opportunities where Roche have done some lessons to do with science and maths with Monk's Walk. We've also got Tesco's, who've done loads of work with Stevenage ESC and Barnwell, and also other special schools as well, where they've got lots of different lesson plans that you can use. So on the Careers and Enterprise Company website, there's the resource directory, which I'll show you in a moment, and that gives you the opportunity to bring in subjects, careers in the curriculum into every subject with already things off the shelf, which is brilliant. But get your enterprise advisor involved as well along the way, and reach out to your EC for extra help. You can also take advantage of theme weeks or theme days, so National Apprenticeship Week, National Careers Week, where you do careers lessons, National Science Week, International Women's Week, International Women's Day. Also make use of tutor time or PSHE time. Have that kind of blend approach to all the different ways that you could do careers in the curriculum. This is a link to the resource directory where you can get lots of different resources for every curriculum subject, from physics to maths to PE to computer science and beyond, and art, and have a look at those and share them with your curriculum staff within your school. Also on HOP, we've got a Gatsby Benchmark 4 section, and on there we've got these links that can take you out to lots of different resources from lots of different employers. And we've also got links to the visual learning journeys, or you can go on the Careers Leader Facebook group and get examples of the Careers Leader journey there, a bit like this one here. Another way of doing this is once you've done the audit, there is a mechanism called the Gerard Listen 6-step model. And step 1 is gaining buy-in from your strategic leads within your school. Second is about bringing a subject to life, so finding a part of the curriculum that you want to bring to life and use an employer to enrich. Reach out to the employers with a challenge, and with that engagement and that partnership, you can launch a lesson or a project, and then get the students to take part in that, and then at the end celebrate it. There's about 200 different examples of the Gerard Liston model in different subjects. If you type that into Google and have a look at the Gerard Liston model, you can look at examples from all the different areas and all the paperwork as well. Another example is the modelling audit tool on the Careers and Enterprise website in the resource directory, and that gives you approaches to doing your staff inset and audit and various other things along the way as well here, which is the link there. Moving on to Gatsby Benchmark 5, encounters with employers and employees. So from the age of 11, so starting year 7, pupils should participate in at least one meaningful encounter with an employer each academic year. Every year, alongside their study or programme, they should have at least one encounter that should be delivered through the curriculum area. And in colleges, they should also be looking to have 2 encounters each academic year. So it's really important to think about all the different ways you can do that. And in a moment, I will go through some different ways that you can address that. And then Gatsby Benchmark 6 is about experiences of the workplace. By the age of 16, every pupil should have had at least one experience of the workplace in addition to a part-time job, and again by the age of 18. So when it comes to Gatsby Benchmark 5 and Gatsby Benchmark 6, those encounters with employers, those work experiences can be from a range of different ways. So you could be talking work experience or work shadowing, block placement. You could be talking about employer visits or tours, careers talks in school or interactive careers talks online, careers fairs. You could also be looking at enterprise competitions, work particularly well with years 7, 8 and 9 as well, where sometimes it's hard to get careers into the curriculum. We've had some great examples of enterprise advisors launching competitions of something that their employer needs help with, and then students working on that project and then presenting it back, and the ideas they come up with are amazing. Also activities with alumni that can be around inspiration, mock interviews, mock assessment centres, careers speed networking. We've had schools that have used their enterprise advisor to have visits out to their employer. They've then met people from apprenticeship level all the way up to director level and found out about the jobs they do, and that's led on to some work experience and even apprenticeships for some students that have attended those events. Also use someone like your enterprise advisor maybe to get involved in how to build a LinkedIn profile for your sixth form, hints and tips around applications, how to prepare for work experience, how to prepare for an application or an interview, etc. Really do look to get your enterprise advisor involved or look to your enterprise coordinator for help. These can all be as meaningful as possible by preparing the student before the activity and reflecting after the activity, whichever the activity is, and also thinking about the why and the aim of it. So is the activity to understand labour market information? Is it to raise aspiration? Is it to help with destinations information or challenge gender stereotypes? Is it about developing employability skills? Is it about getting CV development? What is the reason behind each activity? If you've got an aim for it, then it will have a lot more impact, as well as preparing the student and reflecting the student. Gatsby Benchmark 7, encounters with further and higher education. So this is the one to definitely keep an eye on the provider access legislation coming into force in January 23. I'll be able to give a further update on that at a later date, but please do reach out to your enterprise coordinator or look on the website for the Careers and Enterprise provider access legislation. But by the age of 16, currently the legislation is that every student should have a meaningful encounter with a provider of full range of education opportunities, which includes sixth form, college, apprenticeships, universities and independent training providers. By the age of 18, those who are considering applying for university should have had at least 2 visits to university to meet with staff, students and find out about university life. And before the end of their study, every student should have a meaningful encounter with a range of providers of learning for the next stage of their career as well. So 2 interactions there. So this is moving up to 6 interactions from January 2023. And every encounter needs to be within the school daytime when it comes to the new legislation in January 23. And it's also got to bear in mind, you've got to bear in mind things like college, university, independent training providers, sixth form providers, and T levels as well, with something as and apprenticeships as worth building in there. So that could be through interactive assemblies and talks. That could be through visits of your whole year group, going out to visit a university or going out to visit a college, for example. It could be taster days. It could be alumni coming in to provide a talk. It could be using Ask Apprenticeship Service, which is the Apprenticeship Support and Knowledge Service. gemma.south@hertfordshire.gov.uk is the Hertfordshire lead for this. And to make that provider access legislation compliant, it'd be worth them bringing along an apprentice or an apprenticeship provider with them. So lots of different ways you can do this. I really do like the alumni approach. I think that's really meaningful for students. But again, also look at things like uni taster days, and then bear in mind how you're going to track these interactions as a whole year group. Use Compass Plus, use Unifrog, use an Excel sheet, use your registers and things like that to make sure that all students have attended. So the new provider access legislation means that you should have 2 encounters when you're in year 8 and year 9, a further 2 encounters when you're moving up to year 10 and 11, and then 2 encounters for year 12 and 13 are mandatory to run, but optional for students to attend. So year 8 and 9, 10 and 11, they're mandatory for all schools to run these, but also for the students to attend. And then 12 and 13, it's mandatory to run them and optional for students to attend. So worth keeping an eye on the Careers and Enterprise Company's provider access legislation website down here. And if you've got any questions, send them through to the provider access at careersandenterprise.co.uk or reach out to your enterprise coordinator. Finally, moving on to Gatsby Benchmark 8, personal guidance. So every pupil should have the opportunity for a guidance interview with a careers advisor who must be appropriately trained over the a level 6 qualified, a minimum level 6 qualified advisor, and recommended that they're on the Career Development Institute or CDI register for careers guidance. Appointments ideally need to be around an hour to allow that guidance to happen, and appointments available to students in year 7 to 11, and then further appointments available for sixth form. So every student should have had at least 1 interview by the age of 16 and have the opportunity to have a further interview by the age of 18. So that means things like drop-in sessions, having particular times of the year where sixth form appointments might happen after mock exams and things like that, or particular application windows are all really useful, and making sure that you publicise those drop-in times or publicise how they make their appointment. It's also worth the careers leader thinking about talking to maybe the Senko in the school and the careers advisor in the school, and thinking about who should get priority for appointments at the beginning of the academic year. So maybe special needs students, maybe pupil premium, free school meal students should get priority at the beginning of the year, and then eventually work your way through the rest of the academic year and the other people within that year group. And when you've got the drop-ins, that means that it makes it a little bit easier for other year groups to come along for interviews as well. And that 1 hour time, you can't really do careers guidance in 20 minutes, half an hour. That's careers information. Careers guidance and theory is a 50-minute to an hour appointment. So that's something to really think about. That's because there's a lot to consider in a careers guidance appointment, and the young person needs space and time to think. And it needs to be an effective professional interview. They will look at things like what's their dream job, what are their focuses, what are their ideas, and what are their likes, what are their dislikes, what are their strengths, what are their areas for development. They will also think about what they love doing, what they think they're good at, what they think they could do to make money, what kind of predicted grades have they got? Do they think they'd like to go to university? Are they interested in apprenticeships? Do they know what university and apprenticeships are? Lots of different things to be covered within an appointment, which does take a while. There's also quite a lot of different careers guidance theories. So you've got Carl Rogers' motivational interviewing, where you need to understand their motivation. You've got to listen, actively listen, and be empathetic and empower the student to make their own decisions. You've got Egan's skilled model, where there'll be a lot of exploration, there'll be a lot of challenging, and then a lot of action planning. How might they achieve that? And then smart actions. There's also things like looking at what they feel are their strengths and what's currently available to them. Things like what's model, what's the opportunities available to them locally, what decision they're going to make, what transition they're going to take. This all needs to help students particularly come over barriers. They need to be personalised and tailored, this approach, and it needs to be impartial. So that's why 20 minutes, you just don't have the time. You then may also be moving on into things like action plans and applications as well. So sometimes students need more than one appointment, and you can see how easily an hour could be filled with some of this information. But the key is to maybe think about which students need this urgently and then move out to some of the other students. But things like the Future Skills Questionnaire can help you realise which students feel quite ready and which students need more help as well when it comes to the appointments. So lots of quick wins, lots of food for thought, lots of resources to look at on the resource directory on the Careers and Enterprise Company and also on HOP. But also, if you're a careers leader or a budding wannabe careers leader, have a think about doing our careers leader induction, which has got some short modules here. Either follow the QR code or copy and paste the web link. Or if you would like to do a whole academic level 6 or level 7 careers leadership course, have a look at the courses that are available. This is a free course, and upon completion, your school or college will get £1,000 bursary to help pay for your cover, but also to go towards the careers budget. But please realise that this is not a careers guidance qualification. That is something separate. This is a careers leadership. So we'll focus on careers, your programme, and the leading. So make sure that if you're interested in that course, do sign up. But make sure that you're in a position where you'll be able to finish the course, or there may be some funding that needs to be clawed back. So thank you very much for your time. Hope you've enjoyed today's webinar about Gatsby Benchmarks, hints and tips. Please go on HOP and the Careers and Enterprise Resource Directory and start about thinking about your audit perhaps of careers in the curriculum and that careers programme, and keep your eyes peeled for everything to do with the provider access legislation, which we will cover in future webinars and also at our labour market January conference. Thank you for your time and goodbye.